sacrifices that are made by each member of the family. It is for the well-being of the group. And so as I heard our brother this morning saying, I want to give to Haiti, it is understanding that yes, it may be a sacrifice here in Canada, in Chatham, but we are reaching out to our brothers and sisters. Who knows what will happen in the poorest nation in our part of the world, with Christians reaching out. Let me just pause for a moment. Our Prime Minister, I don't talk often about parties and Prime Ministers, I talk about issues. But our Prime Minister gave an order Tuesday without his cabinet support, without invitation from Haiti. He simply said, you launch what we have now, and we'll take care of it tomorrow. They said, but we haven't had a call from Haiti. He says, the phones are out. Yeah. Do it. Yeah. That's leadership. Yes. When I look at the President of the United States, he has done exactly the same thing. President Obama simply said, there is a need and you will not be forsaken. I love that. You will not be forsaken. Amen. And the Americans and many other countries are stepping in. I'm simply telling you that there is sacrifice, but there's also fulfillment when we step up to the plate and we give ourselves as a living sacrifice. Paul declares that if the child of God is to become a true servant of God, he must dedicate his total being to God and consider God's will as being the highest possible goal. I certainly prioritize things. I always have a conflict with schedules. I have 3 or 4 places that I should be at the same time sometimes, and I have to prioritize. And sometimes it really comes down to a personal decision. I had an appointment on Monday morning, and my wife had to go into London on Monday morning, and you know what the weather was like, and so what was my decision? I went to London with my wife. I'm sorry, I missed that meeting Monday morning. I had to be with my wife. Amen. That's the priority. Yeah. And we can simply look at and understand that as servants of God, we need to establish our priority, and it is God's will, God's purpose, and he declares, Paul declares, that the purpose of God for us should have top priority over all other claims. And a number of things could be said concerning the nature of a living sacrifice. First of all, a living sacrifice is a sacrifice that is alive. The Old Testament, we read about animals that are offered as burnt sacrifices. And these sacrifices involve death. So that which was offered as a sacrifice was indeed a victim. We think of Jesus as being one who was sacrificed. He sacrificed himself. It involved death upon the cross of Calvary, yes. But we need to realize that that sacrifice was even of his life. That's part of that definition of sacrifice. But he chose to die so that he might have the joy of glorifying God, so that he might have the joy of saving people at the same time. And this was his highest goal. It brought the greatest joy that escaping the cross could never have brought. Look at Hebrews chapter 12, verse 2. He received the greatest joy because he gave his life upon Calvary for you and I. Jesus was willing to become a sacrifice because he had experienced the joy of being completely dedicated as a living sacrifice. Our text does not challenge us to die for our faith. Doesn't challenge us to be dead heroes. It invites us to live. To live for our God in complete dedication to his will. And I believe that a living sacrifice is a holy sacrifice. Many of us are afraid of the word holy. H-O-L-Y. We need not be. It simply means, positively, it means to be dedicated to. Negatively, it means to separate ourselves from. At the same time, to be dedicated to. And so, in modern terminology, it means being completely available to the good purpose of God.